Thanks a lot for having me. What a wonderful coaches clinic for all of Canada, and just excited to be part of such a great line of coaches that you have in this event, and excited to share with you today just a little something that I've put forward. So, can everybody see my screen and hear myself? We're all good.
Looks good on my
Excellent.
side. Yeah, looks good so far. So
Okay, great. So, talking about posting up guards in your offense, obviously in today's game with heavy analytics and the effect that it's had on the game, we posting up has disappeared a little bit in today's game. So we're gonna go cross grain a little bit and talk about not only just posting up in general, but posting up guards within some of your offense. So within my talk today, we'll show some sets and some things that we did to post guards in the past, and talk about some of the technique and some of the things that went with that. So I guess the main question is, why post guards in your offense? Obviously you're trying to create more scoring opportunities within your offense. So how do there's several ways to do that. You have to get the ball in deep. We want to get paint touches, to generate scores. So throwing the ball inside can obviously do that. You can draw fouls with that. You can take advantage of smaller guards and poor post defenders. Obviously, a lot of guards may not be used to defending in the post. You can run that area to run it as a passing spot. Maybe you throw into the low post, but you run other actions off that low post catch to try and generate opportunities. You have no real true big in your offense, so maybe it's more of a perimeter big, and that big's a little bit better spacing the floor. Maybe you are playing to individual skills. One example, when we get to the clips, we had the leading scorer in the league is in a one year in the OUA is in a lot of these clips, and he was an outstanding 6'3" player who could really score inside and was dominant in there. So we were trying to play toward his strengths and his skills. And you may have several players on your team like that. You may not be a great team off the dribble. A lot of basketball today is spacing the floor, shooting the three, penetrating, getting threes. While you're trying to work on those skills, your current team may not have a lot of players like that, or who are good at this time at doing that. It's just another way to get your best player or players the ball in certain spots and put pressure on the defense. When you throw the ball inside and you get it deep, it tends to have an effect on the tempo of the game, and it could help your transition defense if that's something you're struggling with and having trouble getting back. The floor might be a little bit more balanced to get back and have a better chance at defending the basket in transition. You can create unfamiliar and uncomfortable defensive matchups for opposing players. And I think, we're going to show a little bit of that today. Obviously, it could be for guards defending guards inside, but it also could be to have your bigs, have their bigs play on the perimeter to invert the action, and have some of their bigs run around and on the perimeter might be unfamiliar and to your advantage as well. And I think at times too, I know on a lot of teams that we've had over the years, we really go to one or two primary attack players on offense each possession, and we might be wearing them down a little bit too much. Maybe posting another guard on your team just may be something a little, a couple of possessions to almost kind of give them a break in a sense, to stop wearing them out and continuing to have to wear them down over the game to break down the D. They can now be part of the action, but they're getting it in a secondary situation, or maybe create some open shots for them rather than them always having to do it for other players on your team. A few years ago, our evolution, basically as a team, posting up some guards. As mentioned, we had one excellent player who's pictured in the photo there, Greg Morrow, who wound up going on to play professional basketball and led the league in scoring. He was an outstanding 6'3" athlete who could really score inside. And we obviously worked on his other skills, and he did develop some of those, but he could really dominate in there. So we wanted to play to his strengths. We didn't have a lot of great off the dribble players. We had quite a few players on our team that I would kind of call in between players. They were kind of your 3.5s, if you will. They may not really be a guard. They may not really be sort of a 4-man or a big man, so to speak, but they had some skills. They were good athletes, and we might be able to take advantage of them in post-up situations. We didn't really have a true 4 or 5 on our team that we could really dump it down into and go to work in the paint. We weren't a great 3-point shooting team. We had some players on our team that could shoot the 3 and could make open shots. But we were trending as the game, as I mentioned, and then we've obviously seen us trending into more of a 3-point shooting team a few years ago. That wasn't one of our strengths. But to get some inside out threes and high percentage threes by throwing it inside would help us in our 3-point shooting. And we had some big guards who, over their time with us in our league and here in Canada, we play a 24-second shot clock in a FIBA game. And we have 5 years of eligibility, and we had developed some good athletes and bigger guards over their time here, and in their 4th and 5th years, they developed into pretty good post players, and they were able to score inside. How did we get guards those post touches? Well, the actions that we're going to show today is a lot of it was on the move or flash posting. We didn't really what I would call dead post or just kind of anchor someone on the block or in the low post to get them the ball. We had them play on the move through other actions. So we ran some up or UCLA screens to do that. We ran some screens with curl actions, slip actions, just basic cuts to get players open. So our post area, our low post area would generally be open, and then we would run some action and player movement and then get those players into the low post through some cuts or actions or situations, which we'll show you soon. So some of the sets and actions we're going to show today are the 4 listed there. So we ran what we call the 43 screen, which was basically a down screen that would involve your 4 and your 3-man, so to speak. And then we ran some Princeton chin action, which we'll show. There was a Princeton presentation yesterday, which was excellent. There's another one coming up later. So we ran it a little untraditionally Princeton-like in terms of, because we threw it inside. So we'll show that. We ran some snap action, which we'll show, which was complementary to the chin action. And then we ran a bit of a unique set that we called slice, which we'll go through a bunch of those options as well. So to get to some of the video here, I'm just going to move out of the presentation, and then I have some of the video straight to go through. So the first thing we're going to take a look at, and I'll jump around a little bit with, is a 43 screen, and we'll start it with a curl action. So we'll just run through the sort of basic action first. So we've got a full possession here where we're going to have to bring the ball up the court in the full court against man-to-man defense. On a 43 screen, it's primarily going to be out of a horns-like set. So we're going to have, the way this is setting up, we're going to have our screener here, and we're going to have our passer here who's going to flash into that spot on the elbow. We want a nice low catch around the elbow is a great situation. The further he gets pushed out to here, he's going to be, not as good a passer. So we want to make sure we get a good elbow catch. Now the 40 in this basic set, we're going to have our entry such as our player Tom here, number 5, he's going to throw into Tony, number 22. Then he's going to space over the top. We want to isolate this side to run a 43 action, our 4 screening for the 3, or could be a 53 screen or a 52 screen, so to speak. But he's going to space out. While that's occurring, we are going to have our 3 in this case, or our 2, our perimeter player, or whoever's in that spot, and it could be interchangeable. We would have him curl on this. There's different options, obviously. You can run off a 43 screen, but you see him curl there. Then off that curl, we are going to pop the screener. Okay, we're going to deliver to the screener, and then as he's curled, he's going to use his body to shield his man. Watch Greg. Greg, number 12, coming through, is going to get physical. See how he's getting his body on the defender while the ball's still in front. So the defender has to play on the ball side. It's going to open up a nice opening for him to make a post pass. So Pete, our post, is going to throw it in. He makes a nice low tuck pass. A nice little window right here for Greg to catch the ball. Okay. In this situation, we ran a few different things, but Tony, who was the original passer, we always like to have a cutter to the basket on any of our post action. So Tony cuts to the basket. Greg makes an immediate move where he goes back to the left hand on the baseline. Okay, so just to run through that kind of quickly again, we're going to come through, deliver to the passer. Greg on this one is going to curl, which we're going to show some all curl sequences right now. Our post entry, guy pops. Obviously, if this guy can shoot it, it's going to make this more difficult to play, which Pete, number 10 in our offense, could shoot it. What's also nice about this play is Pete was left-handed and Greg being dominant right-handed. This way, Greg can get to the middle right-handed, but also Pete is on his strong hand delivering into the post. So that lefty-righty combo was kind of nice in this situation. Greg's going to make, a nice little drop step left-handed hook toward the basket there, which is a great move. Okay, so again, 43 screen here again with a curl. Our point guard kind of went in and then spaced back. We're getting into it. So he makes the pass into the high post. We've got a relatively nice low catch. Chuck right here, who's our screener, is going to screen for Greg, number 12. Greg's going to curl it. Now, Greg wasn't known as a great shooter, so maybe that's why his man is playing so low below the screen. But Greg was such an incredible cutter, and he cut so hard that he winds up sort of being open right there, and he gets a delivery and a big and strong finish there as he takes it to the basket. So just running through that one through full again, he's just going to score directly off that curl cut, not even so much as a post move as a deep catch and finish. Okay, so another one as we're getting set up, 43 screen with a curl, we're kind of getting set into it. So we're shuffling some pieces. We get that nice low catch. Okay, so I would say technically with this lineup, again, we had a lot of 6'3" and 6'2" to 6'5" players. The passer who's going to catch the ball right here, Chuck, is probably our 5 with this lineup. So we're having a big guard, screen for a big guard here. Greg's going to wind up curling it. Okay, and you see he's made his defender play on the ball side, and as he keeps his body and hip, he's going to open up nicely to the ball as the ball's now swung to Quinn, who has popped off the screen. Okay, Quinn's going to deliver. And then right here, as we usually send a cutter, we just spaced it a little bit. Greg is able to isolate and makes a great post move with a bit of a shake going to the left. So again, watching that full through, we make that delivery. Greg's going to curl. We get a great open pass off that action. We're going to isolate and then just let him go to work and do what he does best. And he makes a great left-hand finish there. Another one coming up. Okay, we get that catch. Here comes Tony, who's going to run a curl. And this time we had Greg popping. So Greg, who we ran a lot of this action for, now we used Greg as the screener. Greg's going to pop. Tony comes back and delivers. Now, some of this action, we would run different action. I know this camera angle's a little off because we can't see the whole half court, but as you see, Jedson is the player who's our passer here off the elbow. When he passes to Greg, we sometimes ran some split action when the ball went into the post, and we'd run it one of two ways. So when Greg throws the ball inside to Tony here, we would either have the passer go and screen for Greg, who made the post entry pass as a split, or sometimes we'd have Jedson come and screen this player. Okay, and when we ran that action, so you see Jedson going to screen here, we would make a read. If the person using the screen went to the basket, then Jedson, the screener, would pop. If this person used the screen and faded out, then Jedson would have to cut to the basket because we always wanted that basket cutter. Okay, so in this situation, we ran that. Greg curled it long, Jed pop, but Tony made a great turn to the basket on a baseline move to the basket. So we'll just show that again in full speed, 43 screen. Here comes the split. Tony makes a nice spin on the baseline. There's no double. He's up and makes a great reverse layup right there. Another 43 screen. We get that entry. Greg, who we're not involving in this one, is just clearing out to the other side as we're getting our pieces ready. There comes Tony with the curl. Okay. Now, a lot of times too, when you get a great cut to the basket, as Tony and Greg were fantastic cutters, as they were very good athletes, he's going to sprint. He drags, as you've noticed here, the screener's man toward the basket, which gives Quinn an opportunity to pop out. So because of Tony's great cut, it gave Quinn a wide open look at three, and he was able to knock that one down. So just to go through that again, with Tony's curl coming off that 43 screen, he's able to cause confusion. There's a big player. I mean, we don't really have too many bigs on the floor, but they've decided to cover Quinn with their 5-man. He was uncomfortable playing that action, and then a bigger guard, because of that cut, is able to step out and shoot the three and knock it down there. As we go through, we're going to have another one of those. So again, as we're bringing the ball up the floor, there's the post entry. Now on this one, what we used to teach our guys on this is if you weren't sure, always curl it, because curling it gives it at least a good chance for the screener to pop and get open. But on this one, watch Greg, how he takes out the screener's man. See that little interference right there? He's going to get his body on him, make the pop out open. So now Pete's going to decide to shoot that, but at minimum, we're going to be able to get that pop and then a chance to throw it inside. Pete gets enough room and then is able to knock that one down. But Greg gets Pete open, as you can see here in full speed. He's going to rub his man out enough to make him late, and now Pete gets a clean look at the basket, and that's where that, shooter becomes important. So exact same situation here in a different game. We're going to pop up, see how Tony came. He started real low, and we get a nice low catch right at the elbow. Okay, so here comes Greg around that screen. Greg's going to rub out Pete's man, and look how low he gets him. So Pete can just step in and shoot it. Now, interesting enough, Pete, who played on our team, could shoot the three, but Greg is doing such a good job of rubbing out his man, the screener's man, that he's actually getting 2-point shots right there as well. Okay, and then I think this is our last example of it. So we're going to get a nice curl. Okay, we get that lefty-righty combo like I talked about, which is nice on the post entry. They're going to come with the double team. So Greg spins baseline. They come with the double. We sent our post cutter. So if you watch 22, when the ball goes inside, 22 cuts to the basket. So they have to have somebody play him. Now, this individual has to play our spacing. If we space proper here, we're going to make one play two. Greg does a nice job of keeping his pivot alive. Tom's going to penetrate. He's going to kick out. And thus we get a really inside out look at three, all because we threw the ball inside to a very good player they felt they had to double, and then it created an advantage where we penetrated and kicked out the 3. All right, so next on the 43 screen here, we had reject action. So instead of curling it, we're going to reject it. So as we set up the 43 action, here comes the passer, here's the screener, here's the cutter. Okay, now instead of curling it, we're going to run a straight line at the screen, and then we're going to straight line cut to the basket for a reject. And this one, we get a layup out of it. Okay, so as you can see, Greg, number 12, his defender, starts to cheat high, and he might be trying to get over top of the screen because he thinks Greg might be curling it. Greg is going to straight line cut to the basket, and then some good read, and we get a layup there. Okay, I think we've got another one here that we've set up, same idea. So we're getting into it. Probably like to get into things a little bit faster, but we wind up getting a nice low touch. Pete's going to set the screen. Tony's going to, and then he's going to reject that cut, and we wind up getting a layup at the basket. So just to show you how that reject cut can get layups if there's good reads as well. So again, here's a throw in. Okay, we're going to have Greg take the screen from Pete. Okay, Greg rejects it. 2 guys sort of go to the cut, which opens Pete. Okay, Greg's able to get, look how deep a catch. Greg's able to get 2 feet in the paint on that catch against a smaller guard. He's able just to seal up without a dribble and just get a nice wide open layup right there. Okay, so running that through again in full speed, we get that low catch. Greg's nice and physical, gets that deep catch, you know, turn, and easy layup there off that catch. Doesn't even need to make a one-on-one move. Okay, so again, we're going to go to screen. So then we got the reject. Okay, Cam, number 11 here, pops out. Now he's actually a good 3-point shooter. He could have shot that, but he decided not to. So look how open Greg is. He's got his numbers and his whole chest pointed back at the ball. Cam throws a nice low tuck in. So now we're going to have Cam space on the ball side. Quinn, as you've seen, is already looking to screen away and run an away split with this player right here as Greg gets ready. Okay, so Greg goes in. Greg's, I mean, an outstanding low post player. You know, they're trying to double team, and Greg's just going to go baseline over the top with the finish. And, you know, that's why we got him the ball down there. I think our last reject clip here, we get a rebound off a free throw. We're going to set up 43. So there's our catch. Now on this one, Greg probably doesn't set up the reject as good as he can because we'd like at least sort of a hand, Greg, to be able to touch this screen. So we want straight line, but nonetheless, Greg rejects it. Pete pops. We get that post entry. On this one, we don't run a split. Jedson's just going to cut to the basket. Okay, so Greg's nice and patient, bullies his man down, and then gets into the paint and evaluates. So that was, you know, sort of one section of thing that we ran a 43 screen with a curl and a reject. Second piece of action that we ran is we ran Princeton chin action. So basic Princeton chin action is you have 4 perimeter players. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have a high post. What we did with this action is we would run a handoff. We'd interchange these 2 players, as you're going to see right here. So handoff, top interchanges with wing. Okay, as soon as the player number 22, Tony on our team, takes the handoff, he's going to throw across the top. Okay, we're going to swing it as fast as we can, and then we're going to back screen him going to the basket. Okay, so regular Princeton chin action, this is a back screen, and then the screener would follow it and flare screen this individual, which we would run that action. But just to show you sort of the basic parts of it, again, the chance to get a layup right there. And I'll just run that action all the way through just to get a sense in real time. So we're going to swing it hard. Tony's going to take, now he can take that screen on the close ball side shoulder or back shoulder. Okay. And if he gets that layup, great. If he doesn't, then he's going to follow out to the ball side block, and we're going to look to throw it into the post off of that. So just showing you a couple of ways this action. So we're going to start with a handoff here. Here's the handoff. We're going to swing it across the top. Okay, here comes the back screen. And then there'd be followed by a flare screen. So on this one, we're going to get a layup off it. Okay, again, just to show you the action. Okay, so now we'll get into some post catches. So we're bringing the ball up the floor. We're going to get into the chin action. Here comes the screen. So again, the guy who receives the handoff will be the targeted low post catcher. So again, number 12 on our team, going to come across. Maybe not the best screen in the world here, but he's still enough interference, hard swing. Okay, we're going to get the ball inside. Okay, and then we'd run the flare screen up top. Now, Greg was physical. The defender tried to gamble a little bit on taking away that pass, and he's able to get up into the basket and score. Okay, so another example, here comes the handoff. We exchange the weak side. Now we swing it. There's the high post screen or rub. Okay, now on that one, he got caught on the screen. So maybe he should have went to the basket a little bit more for a layup. Okay, as you can see, but we still get the low post catch. As the flare screen is happening, our flare screener, our high post, becomes the cutter. So as you can see, when Quinn catches it, number 22 cuts to the basket. Okay, then Quinn starts to bully in, get a little right hand hook going for a score in the post. Okay, another example, here comes the handoff. We're going to swing it. Good screen there. You can see the separation, which is great. Okay, they have to switch it. Okay, so we still throw it inside. Okay, similar to that last clip, they have to help. But what also occurs too is because this individual has to help, when Greg turns, if we've got a good three-point shooter over here, obviously he's wide open off that help right here too. So because they've had now to commit 2 to the ball, this pass is wide open and he's not zoned up. So at minimum, we can get a wide open 3 off of that in terms of our spacing. Another one as we get into it, here comes the handoff. We pass across the top. Screener's getting ready. Our cutter doesn't really use the screen as well as he could, but we're still going to get a post touch off it. Okay, you notice there's the flare screen. Okay, so now the flare screener goes to the basket. We get a middle paint touch, and then we get a kick out for 3. So again, this time we used our guard to get middle of the floor. The defense is collapsing and recovering. He makes a nice kick out to number 5, Tom, right here. Tom gets to step into a 3, and we're able to produce a 3-point shot off of that low post catch. Okay, so again, now this is a bonus clip, so I just threw this one in here. The team decided to play zone, so we actually use this action against zone as well, except here comes the handoff. We did not have a high post, so we put the high post into a low away situation. So George comes up and passes across the top. Obviously, he'd be the guy who posts up. But against zone, we had him go to the basket and into the short corner. And then we brought our post over, as you're going to see, off the full swing. So there's the full swing. Our post is coming up into the high post. George is cutting down into the short corner. So we've got traditional high-low against the zone. Nice pocket opens up. George is down here, so if Tony draws this man, we have a drop off. Tony makes a good read, little kind of hook floater going to the basket. So that was our chin series. Now the snap series that we had was a complement to the chin. So it looked a little bit like chin because it's going to start with the handoff. We got cut off a little bit on the screen there, but the handoff. And instead of passing it across the top, we snapped it back to the original ball handler. And then we've got our up screener. On this one, we'd really want to make sure we have a guard in the high post, because if they switch, then we may get a better post matchup instead of the original matchup that they had. So we throw into the post. Greg's patient. Okay, gets out, he gets on that right hand, and he gets the hook. Okay, so we're going to start with the handoff. And again, handoff too, they may switch this handoff, which we may switch from the point guard or the lead guard who brought the ball up the floor into a better matchup to post. If they switch that, Greg snaps it back. We'd like to pass fake this one just to think that we're going to chin. Then we're going to set that up screen. Greg gets a touch. Okay, gets around, gets into the basket. That one we sent number 13, Ian, we sent to the basket because he was the least best of our perimeter shooters. So we cut him to the basket on that one. Here it comes again. We're going to hand it off. On this one key we made is we wanted to take probably at least 2 dribbles before we snapped it, because we want at least a straight line between our screener and the person using the screen. Because when we snap it back, if we make that defender, if we can get a straight line sprint, make him read which shoulder we're going to be able to cut off of. We could get a back shoulder layup. If he jumps to the ball, if he doesn't jump to the ball, we'll take it ball side shoulder. So we at least want to be even off of that. Tony runs a bit of a delay off it. We get a good screen. We get a low post catch. Our screener was our cutter to the basket. As he's spacing low, Tony makes a nice move, just goes by, and then gets a 3-point play right there. So again, start with the handoff. We'll bring it across. Here comes the up screen. So this guy's, all he's doing is hunting his man, and he's going to blow him up off that screen. Okay, so on this one, the guy covering the screener felt that maybe he was going to be too open, so it became a double team. We get our cutter going to the basket. Nice pass. Nice layup off the double team, off a bit of that confusion off the cut. Okay, so again, we're going to snap it back. Now on this one, we also ran it without the high post or up screener. We put him away, and then we would flash him in. So on this one, Greg has a good matchup already. So we don't want to give them the chance to switch back potentially to a better matchup. So Greg's going to get down. Look how physical he gets, and he posts. He's making that defender deny him that high. We sent our high post flasher who was denied. So here comes 13, but he's denied. It winds up opening a lob opportunity, which we catch, and Greg makes a great play going to the basket. So, a lot of this play is number 12, Greg, being able to get down, be physical, okay, making this defender make a decision to almost front him, okay, and then, other weak side defenders, and Greg just makes a great move coming across and finishing. Again, right here, we're going to run that snap action. This time we do have an up screener. Okay, and you see how they're trying to be very physical with the screen and grab and jam him up. So Greg, shakes him off. They're trying to front. So now we're going to look for a lob or a high-low opportunity. Okay, they tried to front there. Again, Greg did a great job of sealing up. We're taking what the defense has given us. See how he moved him up into the lane to make more room for error for that lob pass. He's able to catch. The help is a little bit too late, and Greg's able to come up and finish. Now, the one read we had, just like any screen we have on our offense, is a chance to read the defense. We could also reject the up screen. So a lot of teams, they'd scout us and they knew this was coming. So they would jump to the ball and try to beat Greg to the screen, right? So then we would reject it. So as you can see on this one, Greg rejects the screen, and look at the separation between his man, because he was going to try to cheat it. So then Greg, takes a dribble, rises up, and is able to knock that one down. On this sequence, we get the same thing. Watch his defender, how much he starts to cheat. So Greg is going to reject it. Now, obviously, he could have pulled that, but this was a bit of a high-low. So Tony, who was going to set the screen, wound up sealing his man. We go a little high-low off that reject. He's able to make a nice little one dribble move and get to the basket. Something very simple as well that we've run before that's kind of snap-like is we had a matchup. We have a bigger guard, Marco, here. He's going to pass to the wing. Maybe he catches a little too high. We've got our point guard setting the up screen. So if they switch, we're making them make a decision. They don't switch. He plays behind. We get the catch. This one, we didn't send a cutter. You know, Marco's able to keep that dribble alive and get a point blank layup on the score to isolate that matchup that we had. So that was the snap series. And then the last one here that we have was a slice series. So slice is a more of a, those are kind of quick hitters and options to get the ball inside. Slice hit was a little more intricate in some of our actions. So basically it's going to start almost like a 1-4. We're going to have a wing. We're going to have a wing. We're going to have kind of a mid post or elbow guy, and then we're going to have an elbow guy. So somewhat like the 43 screen where we had two guys at the elbow. We're going to have the wing run through to brush him off to try and get him open. So then we're going to bring a passer up. We're going to complete, go ball side. The man who rubbed out the original catcher, he's going to come to get a swing pass. We have a screener here, so the guy that's on the wing is going to take this screen. Okay, we'll talk about some of the options. He rejects that. Now we're going to swing it through. The guy who took the screen winds up screening for the original catcher, and then we're going to get the ball in the low post. So this one was actually to, Pete, who was kind of an undersized post for us, but we would really post anyone up this season. But I just want to get you the look of how this set's run. So this one, we ran a curl. The curl's going to come back and screen for the original catcher to get that post touch, and then we get the catch. So here it is again in the full court as we're trying to set it up. Team's picking up a little bit full. We're going to get the pieces set. Okay. He's supposed to brush him off as he comes up. Here he comes. Okay. Greg, who's taken the screen, has the option of either curling it or rejecting it, such as we showed in the 43 screen. Okay, so that when he decides to curl, we swing it. That curl gets him open. We're going to swing it. Okay, Greg, who curled the screen, is now going to screen the original catcher, and then we're going to run a screen the screen action. So the guy who swung it is now going to screen for the screener. So there's the screen. You can see he's getting ready to hunt Greg's man. Okay, he gets caught on the screen a little bit, and then Greg's going to step into a 3 and be able to knock that down. So that was the basics of our slice action. So again, coming up the floor, here it comes. We're going to run him through. Here comes the catch. Now Greg has the option of rejecting or curling this. Greg decides to reject it, and we just wound up getting a layup there off of that action. Okay, another sequence as we get set up. Here comes the catch. Okay, Greg rejects that one. They get a little bit confused. Okay, and then we wind up getting another layup. So that's where the reject can be effective if teams are going to be aggressive trying to deny it. Here comes the catch. This one we curl. Here comes the swing. Okay, now one read we had. So Greg was the original catcher right here. So watch Greg. So Greg catches. He's going to throw it for the swing. Now his man, he's supposed to go down. So we called that the low road. If Greg took this screen, now he's going to go to the post up. The screener is then going to take the screen the screen action here. But if his man cheats, we also taught Greg could take the high road, which right here, Greg's man cheats. See how he cheats to the screen? He was trying to blow up the screen and get through it. Greg made a great read, and then he took the high road, and he was able to make that 3. Okay, so again, just watch here. Greg makes a great read, goes through, swings it. Greg's going to go low. His man cheats. So Greg takes the high road. he gets enough time, and he's wide open enough to make the 3. Okay, coming back with some of the other reads here. We're going to come up. Okay, watch Jedson really blows up his man. So this one, we're going to look for a high-low entry. He's got to deny that. Jed's going to get his body and hip and shoulders on him. He tries to blow that up. So then we go high-low off that entry, okay, into an easy high-low basket off of that. So again, just to show that in full time, we're going to cut through. Here it is. Jedson cuts off it. Nice physical play, blows him up. And then we get a nice quick high-low entry. We're going to show the same thing off of this clip, except Jed's going to reject the cut. So on the last one, he curled it and did this. He's going to do the same thing, but off a reject off of this action. So now he's going to reject. His man had to sprint around to play the ball side. Now that the ball's on over here, we're going to throw a quick high-low entry in. Doesn't even need a dribble, and he's going to get up and be able to finish. Okay, and then just some of the other little nuances we ran out of this slice set as well. Okay, again, there's the brush. Here we get open. So now this one we slip. So we had number 12, Greg, right? The clips we just showed before, he would either reject this cut or curl this cut. Now we have him accept this screen, and then the screener slips to the basket. Okay, so Quinn number 8 right here is going to slip, and then we get caught with a little post up and catch down low. So again, just keeping teams off balance and guessing with some of our actions to what we're running. So instead we accept it. This guy was playing awfully low because he wasn't sure if he was going to reject it. Maybe he was supposed to play him if Greg rejected the screen. They were going to switch. We get down low. We get a nice low catch. Quinn, without even a dribble, is able to make it. So I think we're going to have the same thing here. Okay, we're going to be ready to run the screen. So instead of Tony curling it or rejecting it, we're just going to slip it. So right here, look how high he is denying. Quinn's going to slip it. And then he gets fouled going to the basket. And we're able to get a low catch right there off of the action. Another one here as we're going through. I think this one's a back door that we had set up. So now on this action, we've thrown it in. Greg's getting ready to curl. What a lot of teams would do to disrupt our action is they would try to deny this pass. So Greg curls and Tony's going to pop, and then we would swing it, and then we'd run our rest of our screening action. A lot of teams would try to deny this pass. So we ran a back door option. So if you watch this one, Greg is going to curl, but then empty out the whole play. So watch him, he's emptied out. See how he's emptied out? Now we're going to fake this pass, and then we're going to run the back door action with a little bit less of a mobile player. So Tony's a little bit more mobile. We get that guy caught flat-footed off of that action. So again, full time, we throw it in. Greg clears out. Let's sell it. Boom, pass fake. And then we get a little bit of a back door going to the basket. Also on this set, just to show you some options, it also sometimes gave a little bit of a slot drive. So here comes the screen. Greg can curl it. Greg can reject it. We could run a slip action that we just showed. Greg rejects it. Okay, guy, was sagging a little bit too much. So as Greg's coming over to screen, this can get a little tight at times. Tony decides he's going to slot drive right there on the left hand and get to the basket. So that was another option that we had there as well. So within that, there's 4 sort of sets and pieces of action. I probably ran through them a little quick, but ways that we posted guards within our offense, made defenses make decisions on how they're going to play, and always cognizant of switching and trying to create screens where it's going to compromise the defense if they switch, or they're going to have to deal with a worse matchup on that. So I think at this point, we can open it up to some questions if there are any.
Okay, yeah, there was a few. That was great. Thanks for breaking down. You've answered some of them through your video, but I'll try to hit some other ones that are out here. So the first one is just about and someone asked, do you recommend teaching the skills needed to post up to guards the same way you teach bigs how to post up? So how do you teach your guards how to post up?
Yeah. So if I wasn't so long-winded on some of my explanations there, my next set was our sort of post series of what we taught in terms of post moves. So yes, we would go through the same post moves with our whole team, and some of our guys, we really tried to develop their post game, and we had a whole individual way to try and score and sort of progression of moves that we had developed. I guess that would be another seminar clinic that we could tack on.
How much focus do you put on practice on this skill? How much do you work on this?
Well, I think it depends. The some of the clips that I showed from a few seasons ago, we were all in on that team. Like we had to throw the ball inside to be successful, so it was easy. We did it every day. And one thing I didn't touch on too much in this presentation, but we actually worked on our post entry passing every day as well, because we found, obviously if you're trying to throw the ball inside to be a key to your offensive success and you can't do it, you're not going to have any success. So we found we worked diligently on throwing the ball inside. We worked on those moves. We worked on sealing. We worked on high-low actions, and we worked on individual actions. Now, you may decide, and probably a little bit more of what we've done the past few seasons is it's been a little bit more specialty with us. We have maybe have a couple of players or two on our team that can post, so we weren't all in, but we'd try to break down some of those skills in some sets. So maybe we're not doing it every day, but in terms of working on that set, working on some of the specialties, we would work on it, just not in an everyday scenario.
Yeah, I noticed as someone who's run chin before, you guys did a good job of getting the ball there early and not over waiting, I think, on time for that. So what are some things you will do in practice that'll just kind of wrap that entry pass?
In terms of the post entry
Yeah,
passing,
post entry.
tons of high low, because I think in a lot of high low, sometimes you have to work in a very tight space confinement. And we really highlighted two passes in our post entry. One was the lob, and the other one was a low tuck. We sort of took a philosophy that my post entry pass isn't going to get you a layup. Your position is going to get you a layup. And I think a lot of passers, particularly ones that haven't played a lot of post offense before, they tend to always want to lead the offensive player to the basket, like for the layup, when in fact we need possession first. So our first two passes that we highlighted were, one, it's a lob, and then two, you saw a lot of our passes in some of those clips. We would throw what we called low tucks, where basically we want the ball coming up sort of to knee level, right in the middle. So it's going to make that offensive player kind of go and get it. And then we'd run a little bit of a 2-foot jump hop to go and get the ball to make sure we had possession. So it was something we worked a ton of high-low on in tight quarters, because one, it helped our guys work in tight quarters, and two, trying to make some of those passes in tight quarters, you had to be very particular and really work on your body and pivoting and positioning and get low and make a lot of those passes.
Nice. Yeah, that's really, I think, some great teaching points there. Do you find that big guards are hesitant to get in the post? Like, how do you sort of motivate them, or how do you get them to embrace that role?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think that could be any player. I mean, we've had 5 men who don't want to go in the post either, right? The modern day game, it's a lot of players 6'8" and above don't even want to go into the post. But I think the way to get through to players is, first of all, do you want to help us win? Do you want to be a complete player? And if you have any aspirations of playing at a level above the level you're playing at right now, the more versatile a player you are, the more you're going to get playing time, the more you're going to help your team win. So I think that's the biggest motivational factor. Do you want to be as good a player as you can be? Then you have to develop both inside and outside game. So particularly big guards. What was really interesting is, I know everyone's been watching The Last Dance,
Mm-hmm.
and the last two shows on Sunday when they're playing Utah in the final. A lot of those clips of the action, what are they doing? They were posting Michael Jordan, they were posting Scottie Pippen, two big guards. And, obviously Pippen had back problems or whatever in that game, but, sometimes, they're posting Hornacek and they're posting Stockton, who were two smaller guards, because they felt they had an advantage. The NBA, obviously, in some professional basketball is going away from that because of analytics right now, but it's still part of the game. And if you still have that skill set, coaches are going to look to exploit that skill set, and going to make you tougher to play. On that 43 screen that we showed, there's a whole other aspect to the 43 screen. If you have the 4 or the 5 go down and down screen and they switch, well, then you can post the 4 or 5,
Mm-hmm.
right? So because you've created a matchup situation. So yeah, I mean, if you want, if you can try to go to a bit of the selfish side and say, do you want to play more? Do you want to score more? Do you want your team to win more? Then develop your game and become an inside out threat. And now you're going to just make your team better, and you're going to be tougher to play.
I'm going to sneak one more in. So I saw on your post ups, sometimes they cut outside of the paint. Is there ever a place where it's too far from the basket, you just give up on it, or are you happy with just catching it low?
Yeah, interesting enough, I think, sometimes like in some of that Chin series stuff, our cuts should be going to the basket first, because we should be trying to get a layup. So I think the tendency sometimes when players are cutting away from the basket, they're just thinking too much post up first, where they should be thinking layup first. So that's a good point, because we can always flash back to the ball if we don't get the layup. So that's something, you saw from the clips, and something I think we fought a little bit at times, because they just got their mind of, okay, no, I'm just going to the block. Whereas no, let's try for the layup first, and we can always come back to the ball and post up. So I think, video, constant reminders, working on those cuts, because what's really interesting, and if someone like yourself who's run the Princeton offense before as well with some of those cuts,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those cuts, you're not open for a while. But sometimes when you're at the rim, all of a sudden you're just open. There's a lot of late life on those cuts. So if you just keep cutting to the basket, sometimes you're not open, then just all of a sudden you're open. But if you're not, we can always come back to the ball on the block side, on the low post side, and post up.
Nice. Well, we're going to wrap up there. That was awesome, Coach. I think there's a lot of great teaching points in there, and really appreciate you sharing everything today. I'll throw it to you for some final words, and then I'll wrap it up on my end.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm just going to, if it's okay, I'm just going to go back to my presentation again, just to give some of my contact information.
Yeah, please do. We got some people asking for it already.
Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Just to get there, get to the last slide here, if I can do that. There's my contact, my email, if anyone's interested. It's something that's obviously a little bit different in the game right now, but sometimes you just have teams that lends itself to doing that. We're going to have a player on our team next year who's like a 6'1", 2 guard, and he's pretty crafty inside, and we're going to run some stuff for him down there, and just as a different option, and try to exploit some things. Some games it may work, some games you may not use it. Some games it might be handy to exploit another player on the other team, and make them play some defense down there. So any questions or anything, please reach me by email. I've got some other video potentially available for some of the post-up moves we teach guards, and some of our other post players on our team as well, if interested, and we can go from there. But thank you very much.